is Eddie Everett from my Academy of the Sweet Beats. It's my first interview with the man right here, David Uosikkinen from the Hooters.
Hey people, we're here at Schooley Street. The studio is great. We're in Morristown, New Jersey, and have fun.
So tell me when you first started playing, like how long?
Man, I started playing drums when I was 11 years old. I really wanted to play the guitar, and my hand. I to this day have a theory that the guy just thought, this kid's going to be a pain in the ass. I don't want to teach him. And so he told my mom my hands were too small. Now I got pretty big hands. I got, like, people say things about my hands, like, but I think it was that he just didn't want to bother with me. And I could, from the time I was like a little kid, I could go. I could play that like that when I was 11 years old. So so the guy up the block from my house could play. He played What I Say, so he would play What I Say all day, and then and Wipeout, of course, to this day.
Yeah, I play that one now. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
It is.
Not that easy either.
No, it isn't. No, that's a workout.
It's a workout.
No doubt.
Right. You gotta have chops to do that.
Man. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was the same way. I started out on guitar, and it felt so foreign to me. And when I first started playing drums, I felt like I had done it in another lifetime.
There we go.
I'm like, this isn't that hard.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah. I still remember, though, there was a guy, I was playing in the backyard. I was a kid when my buddy Wayne and we're playing, and this guy, somebody came to visit, is from Philly, and he sat behind the drums, and he started, he played something, and I was like, whoa! What was that,
Yeah.
But he was just kind of, he was there. And everything was going. And I went, that is the coolest thing in the world, man. Like the beat and the hands and everything was going. I was hooked right then, man. I said, to that day, I was like, I wanted to learn how to keep my eye going. I wanted to, that was like the greatest thing on earth. It still blows my mind.
Yeah. So, like back then when you first started playing, were you studying with anybody? How much were you practicing?
I never looked at it like practicing. I was just like, we would get together and play music together because we just loved music, I mean, it was, we didn't have Game Boys, and we didn't have, it was either you played shot hoops, or you played baseball, or you played an instrument. Now, we weren't in the school band. I was in the school band for a little bit, but what we really were slaves to WFIL and WIBG radio.
Nice.
So we would listen to the radio, and we would hear these songs, and then we would try to learn the songs. So, and I remember he had a cool record player, and he got James Brown live at the Apollo. Like we were two kids, like just trying to figure out how to play back then when I saw the James Brown movie, I thought, oh, that's cool. He's talking about that whole that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I thought, oh, that's so badass. I mean, of course, I love Ringo and all that kind of stuff, but all that soul music stuff, man, was just, you felt it. What is that?
Yeah.
But I think I started taking lessons. There was a guy that taught at the music school, the same guy that was the guitar teacher. There was they gave drum lessons, so I went there and I took some drum lessons there. Bill Weichel, took lessons off him. He was great. Our lesson really, I remember there was a book. I don't know if you remember this, but there was this book about triplets, and all it, you would play. Now, we would play triplets, and then it was like a book of every variation of triplets playing. And then, we did that. And then mostly, I remember the first time I ever heard, we had a record player in there, and he brought, I played to a Terry Reid record, and then I think the following week, he brought in the Led Zeppelin, the Good Times, Bad Times. So this was later. When did that come out? Was that 69?
First record was 69.
69, so 1969. So I was already playing for a little while, but I still remember that, learning that, like playing to the, you know, trying to figure out how to do the bonzo beats, you know, which I'm still, you know, trying to figure out what the hell that guy was doing. You know?
Sure,
You know, but I took lessons then, and then there, you know, like some local guys. And then as I got older, I wanted to take some lessons. I took some lessons in New York off a guy named Joe Casadas, who was, you know, just remarkable. You know, he if anything, like he really he helped me. You know, I played both ways. I played, you know, match grip and I played traditional grip. But with him, I really started focusing on my hands. And
okay, I've never seen you play traditional.
Really, yeah, more. I actually play more so these days. I'm so, you know, like, I don't know, somehow I've learned to get a little more power out of my left hand playing that way. It's comfortable moving back from that to, you know, to all three, you know, three grips being that, and this, and a lot of this for me because of the Hooters, you know.
I was watching an old clip of you guys doing, it was like 1981, and you guys are doing, fighting on the same side. My favorite Hooters tune. Yeah, and you're just
when I'm doing the fighting on the same side back in the day was like little slower. That was well, actually the first one, the very first time we played fighting on the same side. The tempo, I think, was kind of pretty up there. And then on one way home, we went to a dub. But it always had a little bit of that rock, steady. But everything the Hooters did back in the day, everything the Hooters did was always like kind of pushing. I mean, we were really into reggae back when we first started. Ska.
I used to go see you at the Tally Ho.
Right? Yeah, okay. So you remember like Wireless?
I'd be upstairs watching. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was lucky because I got a chance to open with the Hooters for some incredible drummers that the drummer for Steel Pulse was this guy named Grizzly, and I never saw anybody lay down a straight 4/4 reggae groove like that guy. I mean, it was thunderous, and he was. I mean, he was taking into the thing, and it was like wood chips flying all over the place, and he was a beast, you know. I said, "Oh, that's the way it's done," you know. So, you learn when you see guys that like play like that, but playing this beat that you think is going to be, I'm thinking, oh, he might play this kind of subtle. Man, he was furious, man.
Laying it down
big time. Cool. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, when I first heard about you, of course, I was underage, so I was sneaking into bars, but I heard about the Hooters, and Jim Hannum told me about it.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, you got to check out the Uosikkinen.
Yeah.
And so I went, and the one thing I loved about you was you're just a powerhouse.
Oh, well, thanks.
It's just everything you play is just, you know, there's no BS. It's just meat and potatoes.
Yeah, you know, and I got to tell you, you know, that came from the guys that I played with, like especially John Kuzma and Bobby Woods, the rhythm section initially, the first rhythm section of the Hooters. They were very instrumental in making me the drummer that, you know, I was then and still to this day. They were, you know, I mean, I'm still a big fan of Richie Hayward's, and he was another drummer that's like, yeah, you should pay attention to the way he plays, even though, like, you know, that was different, but just the way he approached, you know, the song, digging in.
Yeah.
And those
guys. Columbus.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great, you know. And, but those guys were very, they were intense, and because they were intense, it kind of made me intense.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's just like you just kind of want to be a part of the club, you know. And they were both really good. Rhythmically, they were really good.
Yeah.
You know, that was the most important thing. Is like, you know, what's it feel like? I don't think I played with some really great bass players over the day, and Bobby was just as good as they get. Man, he was great. Rest in peace. He was terrific.
So how did you hook up with the Hooters?
With the Hooters, it was, Eric and Rob had that. They had a deal with Arista Records with Baby Grand. They had a great band. You know, it was like their band had Carmen Rojas and David Prater, who's still one of my all-time favorite drummers in the world. And he became like a world-class producer, still a monster drummer. And on that record, their first record they did with Baby Grand had Rick Morato on it, Ralph Shuckett, Rob, Eric, of course, and David Kagan, and I think Neil Jason or somebody played bass on it. But it was all session guys, great session guys. And then and they wanted to have a live band, and I was playing in a bar in New Jersey, and they came in. I always thought they were looking for a lead singer, and they ended up with a drummer. Yeah, they invited me to record some stuff with them, and I went out to Manayunk, and it was just Eric and Rob on a 2-track machine, and we recorded 4 songs. And
You still have it?
I have it somewhere. Yeah, I have it. Yeah, we do. And then a few months later, Eric, I invited Eric to come sit in with my band, and then we were hanging out. And then when they were going to put a band together, called me and said, you want to be in this band. We didn't have a name or anything for the band. You know, I remember the whole rhythm section from the band that I used to play when kind of we were like 2 gangs that kind of got together.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember walking through the parking lot of where we rehearsed, and Eric told me we're going to call the band the Hooters, and I went, what? I remember thinking, oh man, it's such a great band. What are we going to ruin it with that name?
Is that what you said?
It's a band with the unfortunate name.
Yeah.
I don't think I said it to him, but I thought it. I thought, oh, that's a really bad name, and it's even before the restaurants and all that stuff. But the one thing you could not deny is that you never forgot it.
Yeah, that's true.
You never forgot the Hooters, and I laugh because Cyndi Lauper always says it's the band with the unfortunate name. I love that. I love that. It was like, it makes me laugh.
Well, I remember you guys used to have the T-shirts with the logo with a Hooter under it.
With the with the melodica was the Hooter.
Yeah.
But now, maybe we owe Steve Martin because he said something like Hooters. They were like girls' breasts, you know.
Oh yeah.
But I never really, I don't know. It is what it is, and but the music really basically you gotta. I always thought we made great music, so it didn't really bother me too much.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we did our share of touring, and we're still touring. I'm gonna go out and do a 35th anniversary tour this year. So
where are you guys heading to?
Well, a lot of Europe, a lot of Germany. I mean, Germany loves us, so we'll be in Germany. We'll be in Luxembourg. We're going to go to Norway. We'll probably go to Sweden, Switzerland. But I know that there's about 30 dates in Europe alone, starting in June. And then there's a couple of U.S. things going on, which is cool. It's a busier year than normal for us as a band.
Not to interrupt you, but when you go on this tour, are you going to have a drum tech for this?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a guy. His name is Johnny Salvo. I've had for years. I've only had 2. Drew Parks was my drum tech in the early days, and then I had Johnny Salvo has been with us since, God, I think could it be 1995? Mm-hmm. But he's our guy. He sets my drums up and he's great. He's like my Yoda.
Yeah.
I look behind there and he's there. Everything's okay.
Right.
He settles me down. It's good. It's good.
Now, when you get ready to go on tour, do you do any extra practicing? Do you do anything to prep for it?
Yeah. I mean, it's different than it was. I'll tell you, it's different now. I had a hip replacement. 2 years ago next week, and it was a challenge. I didn't realize how challenging it would be, because when they do the hip replacement, they basically cut your leg off. And they kind of put a steel rod into your leg, and they kind of put a whole ball joint. I mean, it's like they're building a car.
Right.
You know, it's scary.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't realize how scary until I started looking and going like, oh my God, what are you gonna do? And then I played a gig 2 months after I had it done. I drove a car 9 days after. You can do. It's amazing what they can do.
Yeah.
But what I do now is you know, it's different than what I used to do, because I'm not quite as aggressive. I think I'm still playing pretty hard and playing, you know, physically hard, but I'm a lot more aware. I'll tell you what I did do is, you know, when I'm playing now, when I practice, or I'm, you know, and I don't really do a lot of practicing. I do some teaching, and then I get a good amount of work with other artists recording things, so I get a chance to, like I did a record last week. I had to cut 4 songs for this guy, Rhett Smith. And when I'm playing now, I used to always kind of, when I was always playing, I play with my heel up. Like that. But now, I have this buddy of mine, great drummer that played with Dickie Betts for a long time, named James Vernado. He's a New Orleans guy. And his feet were so impressive to me that when he was playing, he told me that, he said, you know, I started practicing. I started practicing flat-footed. I never used to do that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He said, Dave, I started practicing because of my hips, taking my shoes off and playing barefoot, and doing this wacky thing with my hands, and it just playing. And he says, play as hard as you can with your heels down. I never used to do that. I thought that's fascinating.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I mean? And I started doing it, and it really helped. You know, it really helped my feet, helped my power in my feet, because what happens to me after you're doing 30 shows, I get to my 20th show, and I get like 2 days day off or whatever I was working, and we're playing, you know, we you know, one of our hit songs we play, and we dance, right, and we play at the end of the set, and you know, and I have this Roland SPD SX, has a click in it, and I wear in-ears, so I have a click in my ears, because I over the years, I just found that, you know, the band, as they get more and more tired and stuff like that, they hear it one way, and I hear it another. Yeah. And to avoid the argument, I'm going, actually, guys, this is what the tempo is. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then it kind of you alleviate the discussion anymore. You know, there it is. But what you know, it's funny. It's something as simple as. Isn't that simple?
Right. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, like, you know, because when you get tired, you want to go. You know what I mean? I know it's kind of like meat and potatoes, but sometimes when you're tired, you start leaving out the string beans.
No,
you know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, and I think, you know, the way I play on the first week of the tour, I would like to be playing at the end of the tour, so I've been trying to thinking about how do I approach, even how I approach, like when I'm playing. Everything that you do relaxed, you do better.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And you can play powerful, relaxed. You don't have to, like, I mean, Bonzo was as monstrous as can be. You know, it's funny, if you notice the stands he used to play, he never used to have these big, thick stands. He had pretty thin stands. You know, he just knew how to hit a drum, you know? Really knew how to get the sound out of the drums, you know?
Yeah, so, he was effortless.
Beautiful, fluent.
Oh,
he had a fluency, man.
Clean.
Like, clean,
yeah.
Beautiful, man. He always had those beautiful... Just great sound stuff, you know?
You're talking about heel down. I took some lessons with Danny Glass in New York.
He's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And he got me, the first lesson I took with him, I played, and he looked at me and he goes, your bass drum sounds nervous. He got me into
just locking down.
I used to like you were saying. I used to always play with my heel up all the time.
Yeah.
Now I play heel up.
Yeah. Yeah, you should be, you know, and it's funny, like, even like today, like, I was just sitting behind my, when did you, know that? I mean, when I that's playing with authority. It's just
absolutely,
relaxed, you know, it's just sometimes our heads are our worst enemy, like, I gotta, just feel it, play it, you are who you are. You're not gonna all of a sudden come back and be a wimpy, like, that's just not gonna happen with me, I just, instinctively want to hit the drums like drums.
Yeah,
it's like
pound them.
Yeah. I've been lucky, you probably you get yourself around drummers that like, you're probably gonna have Lib on here. Like Liberty DeVito has always been somebody. Like when I remember going to Japan with him back in it was sometime in the, maybe it was like 1990 or something like that. We were playing at Tokyo Dome together. God, he was beating the shit out of his drums.
He's a badass, yeah.
Oh, he's just a super badass, a super good guy, and so willing to share his thing, which I thought was really cool. And he was just, he was beating the crap, and he's as relaxed and fluent as can be, man.
That's, to me, when I teach my students, that's a hard thing to teach. Because I was the same way when I was a kid. Everything was like tension.
Right, yeah.
You're so excited.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, relaxation is the key.
Joe, I talked to Joe not too long ago, Joe Casados, who basically, when I went to take lessons with him, there's this great book, it's the Jim Chapin book, the Advanced Techniques in Jazz, where you have those, that first, you can spend the first 2 pages, it's like the Bible, and because you can play a little, like this little guy right here, I actually get my students, it's like, if they can, they play a rock beat, then I have them do, because you're learning independence. You can get that down, man. You could probably get a lot of gigs.
That's another thing I learned from Danny was he told me, like, every style of music there's a swing feel.
Yeah.
Like reggae. Jazz, blues, rock. You're going to come across a shuffle somewhere.
Yeah.
So he's like, you got to have your shuffle together.
Gotta have that, man. That's like, you got to have that, man.
Yeah.
And and there's so many different, ways that, like, Prater had the Prater shuffle, and he would, like, do. And then you could take, like, that paradiddle diddle. There's so many variations. The shuffles are just amazing.
Endless, yeah.
Yeah. I was always a big fan of Jeff Piccaro's. I thought that he played just like incredible shuffles.
He was so gifted, man.
Yeah.
Just went way too early.
Yeah, not kidding.
So let's talk about that fill that you did. Concubine. The one I ripped off. Right. Do you remember it?
Oh. Yeah, the one, right? Because it was pretty intense about it, because there was like this little double time intro. But initially, it was, that was it. That's why to jump into the ska beat. And then we turned it around different ways. And then I remember when we did Nervous Night, there's a song called South Ferry Road, where there was a... I was always... that kind of like cross-sticking... but it's, your ears get this little sonic instead of...
Yeah.
Which, another thing, too, when you're playing in front of, for me, when I get in, big concert setting, as big as it gets for the Hooters, we're playing that one, I gotta, like, not think about it, because there's, like, all intro, and I can nail it,
Great film.
It's fun. Thank you. Yeah, it's a good one.
Do you remember how you came up with it, or you just...
You know what? I was a big fan of XTC.
Oh, great band.
And we did a gig with XTC, and I don't know if he played the fill, but something inspired me about the way that they were just kind of blocking off their music, you know. There's something about the way they were musically, when I saw them, it seemed like everything was framed.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And so when we did those recordings, we did a song called Love and Indecision, and we did Concubine. And I remember Concubine had that fill. And I actually played probably, I liked it so much that I played it a lot throughout the song.
Yeah, well, you kind of made it yours.
Yeah.
I used to play to, when I was in my basement, when I was a kid, I used to play to, Didn't Take My Car Out Tonight?
Oh,
the Hooters thing?
Right.
You played real open. Yeah.
I think through the whole song, I'm just...
Yeah. I love that song. Yeah.
That was my ripoff of Tommy Price. Tommy Price, who played with Billy Idol.
Oh, okay.
Because he was the king of... just had that...
Yeah.
But it always felt so doggone powerful.
Yeah.
You know? And he was another one that... He was just getting the sound out of the drums, man. You know what I mean? That was a good one, though. Don't Take My Car Out Tonight. I made it, you know, of course, I was dramatic when I played it live. I would throw my hand up in the air. I mean, but I could really... That was it. It was all about getting into it. Oh, and then as I started getting a little trickier, I started adding that. Started throwing the hi-hat in there, which was kind of cool. You know, and when you're in the comforts of a studio and doing it like this, you know, it gets, you know, but you get in front of 10,000 people, it changes that.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Get some girls up front.
Yeah.
What was it like playing drums at Live Aid?
It was, I mean... star-studded, everybody. Jack Nicholson, I shook Jack Nicholson's hand before I played. He was like, go get him, kid. I was like, wow.
Yeah, how could you not get fired up from that?
Oh, man, you know, like, and hanging out with, I had coffee with David Ruffin and Eddie Kendricks.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, David Ruffin.
Could you speak? I wouldn't.
Yeah, they sat down, I was with my girlfriend, and I remember they said, hey, do you mind if we join you? I was like, yeah, let's do the Main Temptation guys. Yeah, sit down, man. Yeah, they were cool.
Wow, big Motown fan.
Oh, yeah, amazing.
Great drumming.
Oh, yeah.
The best. The best.
That's ridiculous. And what a bass player, huh?
Oh, my God.
James Jameson. It's like, you know, you hear those tracks today, and you're just, that's, you know, I hate to say it, music's not as good as it used to be. You know, and I'm going to get like, oh, fuck, you know, but the reality is that there was a lot more attention paid to what was going on sonically. You know, that's why I admire a guy like, I wanted to come here because here's a guy that's like into analog equipment, you know, admires those records of the past, and he's still not like ignoring the technology of the future and technology, but still realizes that this is, you know, great mics, and you need the guys to drive it, and, you know. But those records were phenomenal. And, you know, they weren't done in, like, you know, most high-tech situations.
No.
It was like, you know, if you look at Motown Studio...
It's a basement.
Yeah.
The snake pit.
Yeah. That was funny, because Cindy even said that when she went to Sigma. Sigma's, like, looks like a studio. But she walked in, she goes, what am I, in Russia?
You can't just beat a human feeling.
No, man. No, you know, I mean, it is, and nowadays, you know, you can make anybody sound, you know, you can auto-tune them, you can pitch correct them, you can make a drummer sound like you can get a guy that's not even a drummer to make sound like a drummer. You can do, like, you know, amazing things. So, when you're listening to a band like the Meters, or you're listening to somebody like James Jameson, or there's the Funk Brothers, anything like that, Bobby Eli, any of the things that came out of Sigma, that's something special.
Yeah.
That's something special. So I just basically, and what I do with my students is like, I have some guys that are in their 50s that take lessons, and I've got guys that bucket listed that they wanted to be drummers. They want to learn to play drums again. I just basically teach them with Joe. He had a real feel pad, and he was a big proponent of the Buddy Rich book, the one with the snare drum interpretations, where it shows it. We would do it in sections. We did a lot of the book, and we did it both ways. We did traditional grip and we did a match grip, and then we would do it non-bounce, and then he would have us do it buzz style.
Okay.
So it was more old school. We would do everything buzz style, and which was, for me, it really helped me a lot. Yeah. And I'll tell you, drummers need confidence. Absolutely. And it gave me confidence. I felt like he made me feel like you could do it, Dave. Don't worry about, you're not like that guy, but what you got is different than any of these guys, so go for it. And I went, wow, thanks a lot, Joe. Coming from you. When somebody who's great tells you that you could be great, it changes things, doesn't it?
That's everything. Yeah.
Totally. Confidence, man. I think it's true of sport. Like Tiger Woods right now, he's lost his mojo because injuries, whatever. And I relate because my hip and that. Mojo is huge, man.
It is.
You don't have the mojo, something happens. It happens to all of us in business, work, boom. It's like having a faith, and then if somebody tells you it's gonna be okay, somebody you trust in, changes everything.
Oh yeah. I was at the Philly Drum Project.
Cool.
The other night.
Oh yeah.
And
who was there?
Byron Latham, jazz drummer from Philly. Really great presentation.
Yeah.
Real feel player.
Yeah.
Just awesome. He had some great stuff to say. And what he said, I really stuck with me, was we're all playing the same notes.
Yeah.
It's not like one guy's playing some new brand of notes. Yeah. We're all playing the same notes. It's just how we play.
How we play them.
And I'm like, that's so true.
That's true.
Because I got up and played at the Philly Drum Project. I did a little presentation. I talked about Earl Palmer. And I got so nervous. My hands were shaking.
Yeah.
And I played in front of people. I played with Gorillas, Oscar, whatever. And I'm never nervous.
Yeah.
But a room full of drummers.
You got nervous.
Froze.
Yeah.
I started playing. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in a room full of drummers.
Yeah.
I'm used to playing room full of people. Yeah. That was another thing he said was, remember, when you playing music, you're not playing to a room full of drummers. You're playing to a room full of people, so play to them.
Yeah, that gets me through within the pocket every time. Because, I never really think about, it's like when people come in to have a good time, people come into the shows, and that's really, it's been my saving grace. They're here, they're going to have a good time. I'm just gonna hit these things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
if people are moving and dancing and shaking around, you're doing your job.
You're getting it. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Well, cool. I think, unless there's something else you want to add.
No, but I just love what you're doing. I think this is really great that you're showcasing drummers, and I'm glad you got a chance to come here to the studio, because I'm without, for me, with my career now, you need these guys to stay in business and do what they do.
Give these guys a plug.
I just saw something the other day. There was this band, I didn't even know who they were. It was a country group. They're doing great. They were really cool, but they were saying they just don't sell any records. They make their money from touring. When I've been doing it long, and we're 35th anniversary tour of the Hooters. And at one point, we would make a record, and we would tour to support a record. Now, I'm not even sure we're going to do any recording to support this tour, because basically we tour because there is a touring business for us where we go. And but the record industry is really kind of trying to find itself still.
Yeah.
But musicians aren't going to start making music, and creative people that have a vision, like say Steve with his studio and what his dream is. They're not. We don't stop dreaming, and we don't stop trying to make music. And hip replacement, heart disease, whatever you get, you're not going to stop playing. God. Buddy Rich had open heart surgery. He was still sitting there
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it gives us our life. You know what I mean? So
no doubt, it's like
when you put on a Louis Armstrong record that was made in 1930 and it still sounds great today.
Yeah.
That's what it's, to me, that's what it's all about. It's,
Yeah.
it's good art's gonna last forever.
Yeah, I'm with you there, man.
So,
Well, hey, man,
Yeah.
good luck, and thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be a part of this thing. Thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Thanks. Yeah, I like this kid.